Good morning, my name is Lizzie and welcome back to my channel, Reading Underneath the Stars. Today we're going to talk about our May wrap-up, and I have a small stack of books, but I did a lot of e-reading books. So that is better that I done that because I'm utilizing my Kindle Unlimited. Otherwise, I shouldn't be using Kindle Unlimited at all, probably. And with that, let's get into the book. First thing first, we have a new reading journal, and I like it, but I wish it was slightly bigger. I really don't need any more journal because I get some for Christmas and birthday a lot, so this is what we're going with. My cat decided to chew on it. I woke up to him chewing on it. Thinker. Anyway, so the first book we read is The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Sato Yambao. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, so bear with me. We are following Q and Raya. And Raya and Q are on different aspects of life. Raya was basically used for, I would say, spare parts for her brother, because her brother was not doing so well, and Q was named after his father, and his father did some questionable decisions and decided to leave this earth by his own means. So sensitive topic, but they meet on the Elsewhere Express. The conductor thinks that Q is a stowaway and that Raya is supposed to be there, or vice versa. It just kind of made me think. I honestly didn't know what to think for a while on this, because there's a lot happening and you're trying to figure out why they're both on the train and why parts of the train are sort of like dying. Q kind of lives through his paintings, and we're finding out that Raya is kind of a part of those paintings, and then we're going kind of back and forth with that. On an unrelated note, these two things really do go together. I didn't now notice that. The next thing I read was The Parent Weekend by Alex Finlay, and this is taking place on a college campus. Well, most of it and the majority of it, and the kids are supposed to have like a parent gathering where they eat with their parents and get to talk to their parent because they haven't seen them for a while. And it's kind of like a high elite, because this is a private college pretty much from my understanding of it. Now these five get involved with a disappearance and end up being a suspect, or so we think, and stuff like that. It is going back and forth with that on what happened to one of the characters named Natalie. So we are following Libby, Blaine, Mark, Felix, and Stella. Excuse me. So, and this is multiple point of view. We are seeing the return of a character from a previous book, which, by the way, this is the first book I read of this, so I'm gonna have to find these on maybe Kindle Unlimited and read more from this author. So apparently we are seeing the return of FBI agent Sarah Keller from Every Last Sphere and Night Shift. So this explores and you can tell it's very dysfunctional, it's very unique, it's very mind-boggling, very thriller-ish, and stuff. And like I said, they grow up so fast and then they're gone. So really treasure your moments right now. Exactly. So anyway, the next two books we're going to talk about are The Secret of the Old Clock, which is kind of a nostalgic read for me, and The Secret of the Gatehouse. Now, these are by the same author with the nom de plume of Carolyn King. And I had no idea that these existed, these Dana girls. So when I found this, it took another YouTuber that I was watching to even know what I had. Rebecca from Rebecca's Literary Wanderings was talking about the Dana girls and Carolyn King, the Nancy Drew. So, and I was thinking, well, I did go to Second and Shaw and get some of what I thought were Nancy Drew books, but I realized that this right here on the cover was different from the other Nancy Drew books I had. So I realized I had the Dana Girls. Of course, this is just number 9, so I have started from number 9 instead of the High Mirage, the first book. I'm drinking sparkling water, if you wanted to know. I lives on campus, which is the Star House School for girls, and they live with their best friend Evelyn Starr. And by the way, this is Jean and Louise, Dana girls. And they are coming back from a dog show where this dog comes at them and follows them, and they run into Miss Zebra, if I'm saying her name correctly. And her former boss is Robert Warrington from the Warrington Estate, and he owns Steam House Company. And the girls, by the way, do have a arch nemesis. It's Betty Briggs and Ida Mason, and it seems to me more life-threatening for these girls in this particular book. But by that I mean it seems like they're put in more life and death situations over Nancy Drew and stuff. So the Warringtons are under investigation because there's a lot of money and they got missing, and the girls obviously get involved in the investigation because of the dogs and etc. So if you can pick this up, it's hard to find them in the wild. It's easier to find them on thrift shop books or Amazon and stuff like that. Secret of the Old Clock by Carolyn King was a nostalgic reread for me. Gigi moved my camera. And I just found it very unique because I did not remember everything. Hello, Gigi. And stuff like that. I did not know that the original editions were originally printed in 1959 and updated and condensed, and the old editions of course went out of print, and it's really kind of hard to find the old editions. So, and this edition I have was a library book at one point in time. So we're following Nancy Drew as she is 16 years old. She is driving her beautiful blue, I'm gonna call it a Corvette, but it's not exactly a Corvette, which, yeah. And her father is a lawyer, it's Carson Drew, and they are discussing the recent death of Josiah Crawley and how the particular people, the Thompson sisters, Isabella and Ida, now have the inheritance of Josiah because he was living with them. And Nancy, it doesn't sit right with Nancy. She thinks that it should have actually gone to other people and stuff, so she thinks there might be a hidden will. And she becomes friends with these other and possible people that inherit. And it's a bumpy ride, to be honest with you. But I did enjoy this very much as I reread, because I did not remember anything. The next book we read is a Kindle Unlimited book. It's The Honey Dip Secret, and we are following Julia as she's taking care of her family chocolate bake shop. And she, in the first few books, she didn't know very well how to cook because she's kind of recovering from a old relationship. In this book, we are following her as she and Cornelia and Bernice find out that they have a cousin named Charlemagne. And Charlemagne is, well, my flags were up from day one, the minute we met Charlemagne. So, because she didn't feel, what's the word I'm looking for? She just felt like she was fake. She was lying. She knew, like, she was trying to get her slice of the pie that did not even belong to her, and her inheritance that did not belong to her. So when she is found deceased, Julia, Bernice, and stuff are kind of looked at as suspects, and Bernice and them are trying to have to figure out what happened to Charmaine and who she really is and who else could be involved. And the other thing that didn't sit well with me with this book, was that the poor dog was out in the rain while all this happened and no one knew it was there. So, that one. The next book we read is A Chapter in the Curse by Elizabeth Penny, and where we find out that Molly and her mom had gotten a letter from their aunt Violet in England where she is asking for their help because she's about to lose her bookstore. Upon arrival, they find out that her cousin is actually trying to sell the bookstore out from underneath Aunt Violet, and there's a lot of blackmail going on. So, do they get to keep the bookstore or not? Because Molly is a ex-librarian who is trying to have some way of living here in England. The next two books is the novel Murder by Elizabeth Penny, and we are following Faith Newberry as she now has a job inside of Castle Manor, and her cat Watson, oh my gosh, it's black with white and it has a bobtail, and we're following them as they embark on this new adventure at this Castle Manor library. And they there's a Sherlock Holmes kind of retreat going on as she's being hired there, and she discovers that one of the first editions is not exactly a first edition at all. So she is scared to tell her new boss that, and the lady underneath the main boss, she is a pain in the butt and doesn't exactly believe Faith at all. And not only that, they're trying to find out what exactly happened to the previous librarian because she is missing. And yeah, so it is a lot of things going on at once between fake books and a missing librarian. And of course, the police are obviously looking at Faith because she is the next librarian in line, and in their mind they're thinking she's the one that benefited the most out of this. The next book we read is a part of the same series, but it's by a different author. It's A Bitter Word by Jane Field, and we're following Faith and her cat Watson as they are embarking on this cookbook retreat series. And a lot of things are going on. We have the main author named Sugar, and she is very flirtatious, has a lot of enemies, been known to steal other people's boyfriends, and her assistant, Ms. Hubert, is kind of restrictive on what Sugar can do, eat, etc. So I wasn't ever sure if it's actually coming from Sugar or if it was actually coming from Myth. And we know that this is the last season of the so Sugar's part of this cook-off show, and it's apparently the last season of it, and a lot of people are extremely unhappy about it. So we need to figure out who or what is happening, because there's a lot of she said, he said, so and so is stealing recipes, are they not, etc., and so on. And with that, I will see you in the next one.